Hello and welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John and welcome to 50 years of horror movies. The year is 1975. Like I said, I filmed this one along with the one from 1974. That's why I'm wearing the same t-shirt. Also, I wanted to mention, I didn't mention in the 74 video, but I don't have any light on here. This is just natural light coming in through the window, and I just kind of like the way it looked. You know, so I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go with the natural light coming in from the window, kind of like a Terrence Malick effect or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, 1975. Now, some of these movies on here, I don't know if I've actually seen. I know I haven't seen the first one. Yeah, there's actually 2 out of the 5 movies on here that I myself have not had the chance to see yet. But like I've always said, these are recommendations for me as well as they are for you. So that being said, let's go ahead and get underway. So the first one we have is one that you would classify in the Giallo, which is the Italian horror films category. And this is Deep Red. And this is also known as Profondo Rosso. It's directed by Dario Argento. It was written by Argento and Bernardino Zapponi. All right. It stars David Hemmings, Darian Nicolodi, and Gabriel Lavia. So I'm going to read the IMDb synopsis for you, since, like I said, I haven't seen it. So give you guys a little idea what it's about. It says here, a jazz pianist and a wisecracking journalist are pulled into a complex web of mystery after the former witnesses the brutal murder of a psychic. All right. Another thing about that, where it says wisecracking journalist, it seems like IMDb almost kind of dropped the ball on the synopsis. It makes it almost sound like it's more of a comedy than an actual horror or suspense film, and I don't think that's the case. But like I said, I haven't watched it. I know Barnes & Noble has a special edition of it, but Barnes & Noble, usually 9 times out of 10, they want way too much for their movies. It's like I can go to Walmart and get the same movie that's at Barnes & Noble. I can pay $19.99 or maybe $21 or $22.99 or whatever at Walmart, and it'll be $39.99 at Barnes & Noble. It's like, why? What? Why? Tell me, please. Why? All right, so that was Deep Red, also known as Profondo Rosso. All right, so moving on. Now, I have seen this one. I've seen it several times. I've actually got a copy of it. And this one is Race with the Devil. And this is directed by Jack Starrett. The screenplay is written by Lee Frost and Wes Bishop. All right. It stars Peter Fonda, Warren Oates, Loretta Swit. Remember her as Hot Lips Houlihan from MASH. And Lara Parker, who I got to looking at her name and I said, oh, she looks like she was the woman that played Angelique in Dark Shadows. Yes, she was. All right. And what this is about is two couples, the 4 people I mentioned, 2 couples, and they're traveling across country. I believe they're going from Texas to Colorado, or maybe Colorado to Texas. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, they stop one night, and the husbands see a ritualistic murder that is committed by this group of satanic worshipers. The satanic worshipers seeing them commit the murder, and then just all hell breaks loose, so to speak, because the Satan worshippers just are after these 2 couples with an absolute vengeance. Now, there's not a lot of blood in this movie, not a lot of gore or anything like that. It's mainly suspense and thrills. But I think I've seen this movie probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 times, and I enjoy it every single time that I see it. All right, so there you go. That is Race with the Devil. Okay. Alright, next up, now this is another one that I have not seen, and this is the debut film of David Cronenberg. Alright, This is also known as It Came From Within, but the title I'm going to use for it is Shivers. Okay? And Shivers, it is written and directed by David Cronenberg. It stars Paul Hampton, Joe Silver, and Lynn Lowry. Okay, so the plot of this is the residents of a suburban high-rise apartment building are being infected by a strain of parasites that turn them into mindless, sex-crazed fiends out to infect others by the slightest sexual contact. Okay, so like I said, this is David Cronenberg's first movie. This is his debut film. And just from reading and for knowing what Cronenberg is famous for, and from reading that synopsis, the only thing I can think of is let the body horror begin. Alright, because this sounds like a body horror film if there ever was one. Okay, alright, so that is Shivers. Okay, moving on. Okay, next up we've got the Stepford Wives. And this is directed by Brian Forbes. Screenplay is by William Goldman. And it is based on the novel by Ira Levin. It stars Catherine Ross, Paula Prentice, and Peter Masterson, excuse me, sorry about that. So what this is about is this woman played by Catherine Ross and her husband move into this community, and it is like one of those, it's like one of those gated communities, you know, owned by the homeowners association and all that, and she kind of starts noticing some really strange things going on. Like the husbands seem to be kind of secretive, but that's not all. The thing about it is the wives just seem to be like the perfect wives, the perfect housewives, obedient, submissive, and all that kind of stuff. And she's like, okay, there is something freaky going on in this community. And of course, she is absolutely right. I was thinking about this when I was reading the synopsis for it, and I've seen the movie. It's been a long time, but Ira Levin, I don't know if any other of his books are like this, but Ira Levin seemed to kind of have a knack for strange people or strange groups of people, because like Rosemary's Baby, you know, Rosemary is surrounded by these witches, you know, in the film, in the movie, and in the book. Very strange people in her apartment building and all. And then in this one here, you have Catherine Ross and this really strange community of husbands and wives, so to speak. So yeah, that is the Stepford Wives. All right. And last but not least, we have a TV movie. I remember the first time I saw this movie, I saw the last segment of this movie, because there's 3 segments. I'll get into that in a minute. But the last segment, let's see, 74, I was 12. I didn't sleep. I did not sleep. I made sure my closet door was closed. I made sure anything that looked like a person or any other strange thing, I made sure it was all just cleared. Nothing under my bed or anything like that, but I still did not sleep. All right, I am talking about Trilogy of Terror. All right, so Trilogy of Terror is directed by Dan Curtis. And I'm going to try to make sure I get all the stories and screenplay and teleplay information right. Okay, some of the stories are by Richard Matheson. He did the segment for Julie. Actually, all the stories are by Matheson. He did this story for Julie, Millicent, and Therese. That's the second segment. And the third segment, Amelia. And Amelia is based on his short story, Prey. Okay? Then the teleplay for the first 2, which is Julie and Millicent and Therese, are by William F. Nolan. And then the third one, which is Amelia, is the teleplay is by Richard Matheson, because he knew it had to be one of the scariest segment, and he wanted to go ahead and write it himself based off his short story, Prey. All right. So this stars, I mean, there are other stars in this movie, but you might as well just say this movie stars Karen Black, because Karen Black plays 4 different characters in this movie. Okay, the first one, Julie, she plays this school teacher who is blackmailed slash seduced, sort of, by one of her students, and I'm not going to tell you about what happens there. Nice little twist. Okay, then the one, Millicent and Therese, she plays these twin sisters, one of whom is kind of a spinster type. The other is not so nice. All right, but the coup de grace, the creme de la creme, the cherry on top of the sundae is the final one, Amelia. And Amelia is about this woman who is given this gift, and the gift is this like this tall like statue of this African warrior with these horrible teeth, and it is called a Zuni fetish doll. Okay, so the thing about the Zuni fetish doll is it's got this little braid or band around its waist, and you cannot let that band come loose or come off of it, or this Zuni fetish doll will come to life. Now, I don't think I have to tell you what happens, because if you haven't seen Trilogy of Terror, just watch the last segment. Even if you don't watch the rest of the movie, watch the last segment. It is a masterclass in horror. All right, it is just one of the, like I said, this thing, it scared the crap out of me when I was a kid, and I rewatched it as an adult, and it still scared me. All right, and the final scene, the very last scene, it'll stay just ingrained in your brain, you know, for the rest of your life. All right, so that is Trilogy of Terror, and that is going to do it for 50 years of horror movies. 1975. Until next time, this is Books of Blood, aka Cinema of Blood. Take care and stay scared. Bye-bye.